so now we'll switch to something a little bit lighter here, but Elon Musk, I don't know why he does this, man. I don't know why would he do this? It's embarrassing. So he goes and sits down for an interview. I guess it's with, what was this, CNBC interview?
No, this is New York Times, their Deal Book conference, and the interviewer is Andrew Ross Sorkin, who's both with New York Times and CNBC.
Oh, I see. Okay. So they ran it on CNBC, but it was a New York Times interview. So, okay, my advice to Elon, first of all, don't do it if you're like a mess. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't have your ducks in a row, you don't know how to present, like, a reasonable face to the world, like, sit it out, homie. Sit it out, okay?
No,
like,
I mean, he would never do another interview again.
I know. This guy is, you could see how much he's coping and seething under the surface. You could tell it in this interview. So he sits down, and of course, he's going to get questions on what's been happening recently, right? And what happened recently. There was a massive advertiser boycott. Advertisers are running away at 1,000 miles an hour because Elon Musk casually said, "You have said the actual truth," to somebody who is spreading, like, the great replacement theory and blaming Jews.
Right.
Right?
Basically saying that they brought October 7th on themselves because they vote wrong in American elections.
Yeah. Insane.
Yeah.
Insane. So anyway, this guy, Andrew Ross Sorkin's interviewing him, and this clip has gone rather viral. Take a look.
Apology tour, if you will. That this had been said online. There was all of the criticism. There was advertisers leaving. We talked to Bob Iger today.
I hope they stop.
You hope?
Don't advertise.
You don't want them to advertise?
No.
What do you mean?
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go fuck yourself.
But
go fuck yourself. Is that clear? I hope it is. Hey, Bob, if you're in the audience.
well, let me ask you then.
That's how I feel. Don't advertise.
Okay, so my favorite part, I don't know if you caught this, Crystal, is that when he says the "go fuck yourself," audience dead silent.
Right.
Like, just, you could hear a pin drop in that audience. Then he repeats it, like, begging for the crowd reaction. Like, I said, "Go fuck yourself." And you get, like, a smattering of, like, ha, 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 ha. And it's like, it honestly looks like, this reminds me of when Trump was going around in 2016 and he was saying, Obama founded ISIS. He's the founder of ISIS. And he said it so many times. And then there was huge media backlash. And he went out and said it again. And there was a certain point in time where it looked like, are you trying to lose? Like, it looks like you're trying to lose right now. That's the feeling I get watching Elon basically giving all the advertisers a middle finger. Like, you're giving them an excuse, the ones that remain, to run for the door.
Right. Well, he goes on to say there that, you know, if Twitter fails and goes bankrupt, it will be the advertisers' fault. As if they have some obligation to advertise on your platform. That's absurd. Like, you're Mr. Genius Businessman. If you want to be able to do whatever the hell you want on Twitter without facing any sort of consequences from advertisers who are just capitalists trying to figure out where to put their money, where they're going to get the biggest bang for their buck, come up with a business plan that isn't dependent on advertisers. Now, he's tried that with this Twitter Blue thing, which he also instantly, like, destroyed and made it so that people out of spite would never pay to be Twitter Blue members. But it's insane to blame the advertisers as if they owe you their money. So that's number one. Number two, like, I would love it if, you know, I would love the energy of the go F yourself to advertisers who I also find annoying and, like, wish that we weren't dependent on for our social media platforms and whatever, if it was actually in service of some kind of principle, but it's not. You know, the idea that he was any sort of...
It's in service of spite.
It's in service of just chaos. The idea that he's any sort of beacon of free speech principles has been absurd now for so long. I mean, since the instant he bought the platform. But just in recent weeks, he banned the word decolonization.
And from the river to the sea.
River to the sea, which we were just discussing. So, Mr. Free Speech, give me a break. What I read this as wasn't just him being unhinged. I read it as intentional, as, like, if Twitter is in dire financial straits, if they do file for bankruptcy, or if they're facing some sort of, like, investor lawsuit over his mismanagement, this is his pre-buttal. This is the case that he's going to make. It's not my fault. It's these advertisers and their boycotts running away. That's the reason why this fails, which is not really an effective legal argument. Maybe it's more of a PR argument ultimately, but that's what I see as this intentional laying out out of the case of why Twitter is such a mess and such a financial disaster.
But literally nobody in the business world is going to agree with him. Nobody. And there's no court in America that would agree with him.
Of course.
Right? Maybe it's for, the layman viewer who maybe they'll shift the burden and blame the advertisers. But how, you have the right to say, I don't want to give money to your shitty platform when you make really hectic decisions on a daily basis. They're floating this test, or they're doing a test somewhere with Twitter where everybody has to pay for basic features. You want to know why he's doing that? Because he's so desperate for cash now. And so, that's a horrible idea. That's anti-free speech. You just brought up the one of the worst things he did, ban decolonization and from the river to the sea. This isn't the first time he did, a purge of opinions he doesn't like. Remember when he was banning all the journalists who were reporting on the feud he was having with the Elon jet account? We woke up one day and there was New York Times journalists and Washington Post journalists and Intercept journalists that were just kicked off. Meanwhile, he's still, wrapping himself in the cloak of I believe in free speech. The saddest thing about this, there's this view of Elon as he's such a genius. He's such a misunderstood genius. But if he took over Twitter, said absolutely nothing, literally just cat got your tongue, nothing, right?
Yeah.
And did nothing in terms of here are the policy changes I'm going to implement, Twitter would be fine right now.
Yeah.
And all of these advertisers who are on the fence would say, there's no downside here.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and throw it in. And also, I love the fact that, so he endorses somebody doing the great replacement theory, a genuinely anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. And then he's shocked that it's viewed as anti-Semitic.
Right.
And his reaction to that is well, what if I hate Palestinians and crack down on pro-Palestine free speech? You guys cool with that? And the ADL head was yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah, actually I am. And
Greenblatt, what a joke you are,
and
man.
Netanyahu, by the way, Elon just got back, I guess, from his big Israel trip.
And he's wearing IDF dog tags in that video, number one. Number two, he's got this weird leather jacket on that doesn't fit him right. And somebody pointed out, what's the name of the Tony Stark or something like that? I'm not a big superhero movie watcher, but he thinks he's
looking at me for pop culture references.
He thinks he's being a...
Griffin says it's a shearling. It's like a shearling bomber jacket.
So so he thinks he's I'm gonna be a superhero, tough guy, cool guy coming out here, and I'm gonna, bro. I'll tell these advertisers what's up. What's that? Oh, we just lost $14 billion more dollars. What? That's what's gonna happen, man. That's what's going to happen. This is insane.
The other thing I was thinking about is, they brought in the CEO, Linda Yaccarino.
Oh, God, that poor woman. Worst job in America.
I don't have much sympathy because she had to know what she was getting into or else she's just an idiot. She came from NBC. She was the head of advertising there. So she had all these relationships with blue chip companies and whatever. And the idea was she's going to come in and she's going to smooth over the relationships, make them feel comfy again, advertising on the platform. And whatever work had been done in that regard, Elon completely nukes it with his endorsement of the great replacement theory. And then further, in case that wasn't a large enough detonation, has to go and tell all of them directly, go fuck yourself. I can only imagine what this has been like for her, what she must be thinking about this job that she decided she wanted to sign up for.
And final point, even if he wants to dump Twitter and sell it, which I hope that's the case, why would you tank the value more on your way out the door, making it so that whatever you get would be less? That's what I don't understand. Because that's the direction this is heading, is somebody else is going to own it and operate it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's going to dump it. But why would you put a middle finger up to all your advertisers, the ones that remain on the way out the door, giving them an excuse to say, okay, you told me to go fuck myself? Fine.
I'm out.
Yeah,
no problem here.
I'm sure they're not getting any value advertising on the platform.
Yeah, they're just looking for a place to put their advertisements. It's, and yeah, a big cause of them fleeing the platform was his wild tweet about the great replacement theory shit. But the whole management
Pizzagate the other day.
Yeah, multiple times, right? Wasn't he going in multiple times? I don't know.
He deleted it eventually when it became, he posted a fake New York Post headline and he was like, fuck, that's even too far for me. And he deleted it.
But this is also just symbolic or representative of the fact that he is an incredibly wild and chaotic person. And that's been the case with all of the decisions that he's made, the business decisions he's made about the platform. So if you were already on the fence and then he's Pizzagating, great replacement theory, you're like, I don't need this. I don't need this. I don't need another, to wake up tomorrow and see what he's tweeted and what my advertisement is sitting next to on this platform now. There are a million places where I can spend my money. So thanks but no thanks. And, you know, he's degraded the quality of the platform overall. So even putting aside like the insane things that he tweets out, the business decisions themselves have been catastrophically bad for this whole enterprise.
He's just a misunderstood genius, and you don't see his brilliance.
Yes, that's what it is.
That's what it is.
Never understand.
Yep.